All right, let's just get right into it with a pretty wild question. Can a tiny, furry pet, one that's in mortal danger no less, actually make you a better English speaker? Believe it or not, we're going to explore how that might just be true. We'll look at two completely different ways to learn. One is pure Hollywood-style drama, and the other, it's as simple as your morning coffee. So let's just put it out there plain and simple. Can a hamster's near-death experience actually teach you a new language? I know, it sounds completely absurd, right? But the answer, surprisingly, is yeah, kinda. And we're about to break down exactly how something so chaotic can be an incredibly powerful learning tool. So, our first method is all about learning through high drama. The big idea here is that our brains are just hardwired to remember things when the emotional stakes are high. You know, when there's tension, a real sense of urgency, a story unfolding, that information just sticks so much better. To really get this, I want you to picture a scene straight out of a TV medical drama. You have a pet owner absolutely frantic, rushing into an emergency room and shouting this exact line. Now, this isn't just some random quote. It's actually the opening of a language lesson that's designed to feel just like an episode of ER. So the scene is set. We've got a distraught owner, a little hamster named Frankie who isn't breathing, and a medical team just scrambling to save his life. It's total chaos, and every single second counts. And this is the dramatic backdrop that's going to frame our entire vocabulary lesson. Okay, so how does all this chaos actually teach you anything? Well, right in the middle of all that drama, you start decoding the ER's special language. You're not learning words from a boring list, you're picking them up from the urgent actions happening right there in the story. The very first term we hear is CPR. Now, in the context of the story, it's not just an acronym. It's the desperate, immediate procedure the owner tried to perform to save little Frankie. You feel the urgency. Next up, a doctor yells that his BP is falling. And just like that, you instantly get that BP, blood pressure, is a critical vital sign, and that, oh man, Frankie is in even more danger. And finally, we get the official diagnosis, acute respiratory failure. The story makes this really complex-sounding term super simple. It's the life or death reason Frankie can't breathe on his own. So you see how this story creates a natural learning path, right? It's step by step. First, boom, the diagnosis is acute respiratory failure. Okay, so what's the fix? Well, the doctors have to intubate him, put in a tube so he can breathe. The main goal then is to stabilize his condition, get him out of that immediate danger zone. And once he's finally stable, he gets moved to the ICU, the intensive care unit. See? Each step is a new word, and you learn it right in the heat of the moment. Okay, let's all take a deep breath. That was a lot of intensity over a hamster. Which, leads to a fantastic question. Does learning really have to be this dramatic all the time? Is there maybe another way? And that brings us to a completely different and way calmer approach. Let's shift gears from the chaos of the ER to the, predictability of our own lives. This method is all about learning through the simple, repetitive stories we live out every single day. The theory here is just brilliantly simple. You don't need to invent some dramatic story about a hamster because you are already living a story every single day. It's real, it's useful, and guess what? You're the world's expert on it. The challenge isn't finding a story, it's learning how to tell your story in a new language. And just think about how accessible this is. You can practice talking about what time you wake up, what you eat, how you're feeling. These aren't just random words on a flashcard, they are the actual building blocks of your life. Practicing them over and over, that doesn't just build memorization, it builds real conversational fluency because you're talking about something you know inside and out. It's just authentic. So we have two wildly different methods here. One's a fictional, high-stakes ER drama. The other is your own quiet, personal daily life. I mean, they seem like total polar opposites, don't they? But what if I told you they are powered by the exact same engine? The single core principle that connects a dying hamster to your morning toast is storytelling. It's that simple. Our brains aren't really built to remember isolated facts and figures. They're built to remember narratives, whether those stories are totally epic or just part of the everyday. And this breaks it down perfectly. On one side, you've got the high drama method. It uses all that emotion and high stakes to make very specific vocabulary memorable and really sticky. On the other hand,
The daily routine method uses personal relevance and repetition to build practical conversational fluency. One is an external, made-up story. The other is your own internal, personal one. Two completely different paths, but they're both heading for the same goal.
Now, for a perfect real-world example of these two methods just colliding, you have to hear this. In the very same source that gave us Frankie the hamster, one of the hosts shared a personal story. And this quote, this is how it started. Just imagine hearing that. A cat from the 20th floor. This was the ultimate learning moment. Her personal daily routine, just, living with her cat, suddenly turned into a high-stakes ER-level drama. She had to rush him to the vet's ICU. He was in critical condition. All that vocabulary we just learned with Frankie, she was now living it. And you can bet she will never, ever forget those words. So, what does all this mean for you? How can you actually use the story of a hamster and a cat to supercharge your own learning? Well, it's all about recognizing the opportunities that are already all around you. And this right here is the main takeaway. Powerful learning moments aren't just in textbooks or classrooms. They're hidden in those extraordinary events that get your heart pounding and in the quiet, ordinary moments of your daily life. Both are just rich with stories that are waiting for you to tell them. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. Is your life story, right now, more like a high-stakes drama or a comfortable routine? And more importantly, what vocabulary, what skills, what lessons are embedded in that story just waiting for you to notice them? Thanks for watching.